Highlands and Islands of Scotland, a land that arouses the passions of men. Some are besotted with the romanticism of its long and terrible history. Others see it as hard and hostile, a land to be fought over and plundered. Neither is good for the land or for the people who live here. Once upon a time, all who lived here owed allegiance to one lord, the Lord of the Isles, chieftain of Clan MacDonald, whose domain stretched from the Firth of Clyde to the northern tip of the Hebrides. But that's all a long, long time ago. Who has succeeded them? Who are the new lords of the Isles? Now owned by a man who writes songs about it.
Sledge farm as the misty of the day lift the night from a shade bank, make the mock cars lay, all twilight hours down from a heaven home, high above the highest city. For the good Lord's throne. It's the wee hours I need you, even down by the ring, on we'll watch the old gods play. By the ring, by the ring.
The Strathard Estate, bought in 1974 by Mr. David Lewis, a London property developer. Price, £730,000. In the 2 years of ownership, he was seen on the estate for only a couple of hours, before putting it on the market again. Ian McKinnon was the man who showed prospective buyers around. He was born on the estate, has worked all his life here, could see the potential, but he never had the means nor the security of tenure to develop his ideas. What did he feel about showing strangers over land that he has worked all his life?
Well, I felt a bit bitter at times, certainly, about it. Really, what I felt was that I was the one that was really kept this estate going, really. Otherwise, the place would have really just completely fallen to wreck and ruin. But I had no option but to show them round.
And again, then, go.
This was the man who bought the estate in 1978, Ian Anderson of Jethro, Tull, a group of fine musicians who have lasted for more than a decade of fickle fashion. The price he paid? £170,000, which means that his predecessor, David Lewis, lost more than £500,000. What went through Ian McKinnon's mind when he knew that a pop musician was to be his new laird?
Well, which is a haven of drugs here, and that sort of thing. That was the first thing I thought, and I thought, you know, this is it. This is the end of the estate as far as I'm concerned. And the following week, Ian Anderson turned up, and as soon as I saw him, I knew he was Jethro Tull. I mean, he didn't have to tell me, even though I hadn't seen him before. And that was the beginning of the Ian Anderson side of the estate.
They must have looked on you with suspicion.
I'm sure they did, and they would be very foolish if they did not still look upon me with suspicion, because only time will tell whether I prove ultimately to be a good laird or one of the bad lairds that we so often hear about still. And they should quite rightly view me with great suspicion, and probably my son after me. You know, it'll take a few generations perhaps before, you know, we see whether it was a good idea.
And what's it like now under Ian Anderson?
Well, it's a lot better, really. Things have changed vastly, really, for the simple reason that he's one of the few landlords that seems to be prepared to invest a substantial amount of his money into the land, which really is a good thing, as far as I'm concerned. Good for, basically for me and for the island as a whole, I would say.
Stumbling upon, as we did the first time when we went to Kilmaria, a place which was so obviously derelict and yet still so obviously alive, or just waiting for someone to snap a magic, not a finger, but a building trowel and a paintbrush or something to make it come alive again. It's a great feeling, and it's that sort of image that I have when I'm away. I can't wait to get back just to carry on with some little, however small, act of rebuilding that feeling of life.